I'm truly honored and humbled. And look, this means so much to me. Dawn means a lot to me. I had the good fortune of interviewing Jamal Khashoggi several times before he was murdered by the Saudis 6 years ago today. And today, 6 years on, Dawn and Sarah Leah & Co. truly keep Jamal's spirit alive. So give it up for Dawn. Look, we live in dark times, darker even than when Jamal was being so brutally tortured and killed in a Saudi consulate in Turkey, and an American president was helping them to cover it up. From Gaza to Yemen to Lebanon today, the Middle East is on fire. The Middle East burns while Joe Biden fiddles. By the time we leave this gathering tonight, in half an hour from now, many more Palestinian and Lebanese civilians will have been killed by an Israeli war machine, armed to the teeth by our government just down the street from here, funded by our taxpayer dollars, and protected by many in our media who choose to look away. Over this past year, there have been many things said, many quotes, many statements about Gaza that have haunted me. But one stands out above the rest. It was when the lawyer for the South African government at the International Court of Justice in January talked about, quote, the first genocide in history where its victims are broadcasting their own destruction in real time in the desperate, so far vain hope that the world might do something. And yet the world did nothing. Today, the death toll in Gaza stands at more than 40,000 compared to 20,000 back in January. We have seen malnutrition, famine, starvation, ethnic cleansing. And yet guests on cable news are told not to use the G word, genocide. Reporters at our national newspapers are told not even to use the O word, occupation. People in the media, in Hollywood, fear for their jobs if they say anything. Students on campus are being doxxed and even deported. Despite having spent the past few years watching the conservative movement in America hyperventilate over threats to free speech and the rise of cancel culture, the truth of the matter is that it has always been the supporters of the Palestinian cause who are the ones who get cancelled first and cancelled worst. That was true before October the 7th. It is certainly true since then. So that is why we need a truly independent organization like Dawn in Washington, D.C., in a town where so many organizations are bought off by foreign governments. That is why we need an organization like Dawn that isn't afraid to speak out about not just Palestine, but also Yemen, also Sudan, also a whole host of other US-backed dictators and autocrats across the Middle East. That is why I believed, when I left MSNBC at the start of the year, not sure how many of you have heard, I left MSNBC at the start of the year. That is why I believed that we needed a Zeteo, which I founded back in February and which we launched in full back in April. We needed a media organization that wasn't afraid to say the G word or the O word, wasn't afraid about advertisers or corporate bosses, wasn't intimidated by AIPAC or Camera or dishonestreporting.com. Zeteo is now 6 months old, and we are growing fast. 250,000 subscribers globally, including more than 30,000 paid subscribers. I assume everyone here in the room is a paid subscriber. I genuinely can't believe why any of you wouldn't be. And if by some miracle there is a rare, solitary, non-subscriber in the room, well, what are you waiting for? It's zeteo.com. Go for it. I mean, it's $6 a month, less than the cost of a cup of coffee from Starbucks that you're not drinking anyways. All right, thank you. Shameless plugs aside, I'm a small businessman now, I've got to do this stuff. This is a vitally important moment for our media. Yes, there are voices like my good friend Ayman Muhyiddin's at MSNBC, where he has been one of the most important voices on American television since the morning of October the 7th. And I miss our Sunday night handovers, although Ayman once made me eat a croissant live on air after France beat England in the World Cup. That I'll remember more than any Eric Prince interview, I'll tell you that. But voices like Ayman's, or Joy Reid's, or Christian Amanpour's at CNN's are too few and far between, I think we can agree. The same mainstream media that doesn't need a passive voice when talking about Iran attacking Israel, no passive voice, which is willing to say illegal occupation when we're talking about Russia and Ukraine, has to start speaking the truth about Gaza and Lebanon and Israel. What we are witnessing right now in the Middle East is a disaster of epic proportions enabled by the United States government and the United States media. And for me, integrity, this is an integrity award. Integrity means being willing to speak out about what we are witnessing, being willing to call it out for what it is, and not hiding behind lazy euphemisms and both sides journalism. That is what integrity in the media should be about. That is what integrity has to be about. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I want to finish by reading from a very powerful poem from the acclaimed Palestinian poet Mossab Abu Toha, who was detained without charge by the Israelis last November as he tried to escape Gaza with his family. He was detained, he was beaten, he was tortured. Thankfully, he made it out. And to mark 1 year of suffering and killing and pain since last October, I can't believe it's been a year, he wrote an original poem for us, for Zeteo, which we published yesterday, as you all know, because you're all subscribers. And I want to read to you one small part of it. Mossab writes, if we stay in our houses, they bomb us. If we shelter in a school, they bomb us. If we run to a hospital, they bomb us. If we move into a tent, they bomb us. If we go to a toilet, they bomb us. If we run from an airstrike, they bomb us. If we do not do any of this, they still bomb us. If we stay like a tree or temporarily leave like a leaf in the fall, they bomb us. But spring will come, and those who bomb us, will find no bombs among the flowers. Ladies and gentlemen, I, for one, will not give up hope, and I will not stop speaking out about the greatest moral crime of our time. Nor will Zeteo, and nor, I assume, will Dawn, and nor, I hope, will any of you in this room tonight. We, those of us who take great pride in our editorial independence and in our true freedom of speech, will not allow our voices to be silenced. We will not be cowed or bullied or bribed. We will not bend the knee to those who say that a Palestinian life or a Lebanese life is somehow less worthy or less equal to an Israeli life or an American life. We will not do that, because now is the time for all of us in this room to demand, not call for, to demand accountability, not impunity, accountability. Now is the time to say enough is enough, because as the saying goes, if not us, then who? If not now, in the midst of a literal genocide, then when? Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for this award. I appreciate you all. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.